Hey, what's up YouTube? This is We All Juggle Knives with a double feature review of two Anza knives. There you see them in their traditional leather sheaths. Anza has been around since 1980, and they make hunting, camping, and general outdoor utility blades. I have owned both of these knives for quite a while, and I recently got some new Anza knives, which reminded me that I should review these older models. Alright, so the larger one, it's got a 4.5-inch blade length, and it's from 2009, yes, pre-YouTube, or at least pre-me being on YouTube. The smaller knife has about a 3.1-inch blade length, and that one is from 2011. Now, Anza knives have the year of their manufacture printed on their tang, so that is convenient. So you can't purchase these exact models, but they do have current models that are pretty much the exact same blade shape and blade length, but with STAG handle scales. So I will list those models that are on Amazon, and I'm also just going to list like the top 20 models or so that are currently available on Amazon. Also, Amazon prices can be somewhat inflated, so I do encourage you to shop around and acquire your Anzas wherever you can find them. But since Amazon is most convenient for most people, I'll just list those as like a starting point. Anza knives are made from files, and the files are 1095. Now, a file is extremely hard, so they do some processes to it to make it a little bit softer, which is better for being a knife because it won't be brittle. But don't let the whole file thing throw you off. These are 1095 high carbon steel with an appropriate heat treatment. Now, the sheath for an Anza knife is just a traditional stitched leather sheath with a belt loop. Now, the sheath on this does not hold it in if you turn it upside down, at least not for this knife, but on my other four Anza knives, the sheaths do hold the knives in. All right, so that might be a fluke. Here's the smaller knife sheath. See, that holds it in quite well. The sheath overlaps the handle to a significant degree. So these are not like tactical kydex, and they're not trying to be. They are bare bones, traditional, and attractive looking. Now here you see the larger knife in hand, right? Note the finger groove, and there's also a thumb ramp there, right? Now the blade length, 4.5 inches. You see it is a true full tang. That's one great thing about Anza knives. The texture of the handle is smooth for comfort during prolonged use. Excellent slicing blade shape. Right there you see the handle scales. Now Anza's, this has a wood laminate handle scale. Right, they also have STAG handle scales and MICARTA. Right, now this is the smaller one in hand. I like this knife because it's a 3.1-inch blade length, but the handle is full size, right? You get a 4-finger grip. Now these Anza knives are often sold as hunting knives or skinners, but that really just means they're good at slicing. You can use it for any type of slicing task, cutting cordage. You can push cut, you can make shaving, so really they're just general outdoor utility blades. Alright, let's roll in some usage footage. I'm going to just be making some shavings, cutting into some branches. There will be music, so adjust your volume accordingly. And the gloves you'll see me wearing are butcher's gloves that are cut resistant. And we are back. Now the handle scales on these to me look extremely attractive. Some people, they don't like the look of an Anza knife, because it looks basically rough and rugged. But I don't know, I think they have a certain beauty in themselves. Now the reason I showed it cutting into wood as opposed to, let's say, organic matter is, again, because even though these are sold as skinners, I don't want to give the impression that you can only use this for an animal. On the contrary, And also, really, any sharp knife is going to be very good at just slicing through meat. I've sliced up ribs in many videos, so I just thought the wood would be more helpful for you to see. Now, the grind on these, it's a partial hollow grind. It's very deep hollow, but the knives are a little bit thicker to begin with, right? And then you see the edge bevel. The relief grind is unusually wide, and it's also fairly broad. Now, all that means is that it's going to be good at slicing and fairly strong. I mean, the hollow grind obviously saves you a lot of weight, right? But they don't want it to be too weak or too thin, so they start with thick stock to begin with. And then when it gets to that relief grind, they make it extra broad to give you more strength again. So it does have a method to its madness. It is well thought out. Now, in using the knives, obviously the smaller knife gave me less of a secure grip just because the handle was more narrow than this larger knife. But I mean, that was to be expected, of course, but it still gave you a 4-finger grip. Now this one with the dual finger grooves, it gave a pretty good grip, and obviously the smooth texture is going to save any sort of blisters or hot spots. And the texture on those handle scales resembles a smooth, varnished surface. And again, that's because if you were skinning a large animal for a prolonged period of time, it's just more comfortable. Now, relative to other common kind of mid-sized fixed blades, like how does an Anza compare to a Mora knife? Well, obviously the Anza is true full tang, and it's just a little stronger built than most Moras, so the Mora is more fast and light, convenient option, but it is, different types of knives. These are just stronger built. And now, in the other direction, how does it compare to something like, an Essie or Rat, 3-inch or 4-inch or 5-inch Essie, for example? Well, the Essie is wider, a wider grind area, even more heavily built than the Anza. Right, so this is in between a Mora and like an Essie style of outdoor knife. I do think Anza knives have a certain charm and character. They have a really wide variation, and they do small runs. They're not stamped out a bazillion at a time. And so you will pay a little more from that, but they're made of a good high carbon steel. And they're basically full tang, outdoor utility fixed blades with an emphasis on slicing. All right, and they have the MICARTA handle scale models, which are more the tactical models. And then, these smooth handles, these are, your comfortable skinners. And they also have STAG models, which make excellent gifts and give a little more grip texture. So in conclusion, is it okay to buy an Anza knife even though it doesn't resemble like your typical stainless tried and true hunting knives, like let's say a Buck 119 or any of K-Bar's civilian hunting knife line? Absolutely, it's perfectly fine to buy one of these. They look different, but they are extremely useful and well designed. It is high carbon steel, so you have to dry it off and oil it once in a while, but aside from that, they're great outdoor utility knives with a lot of character. I hope you enjoyed seeing these Anza knives. Stay tuned for many more videos. This has been We All Juggle Knives. I'm out.